this is Tim W. Leathertachi 1996. Now, for today's video, I wanted to do something that I usually don't ever do, actually. You've heard me on Godzilla Effects talk about each of the Godzilla films, but mainly for Godzilla Effects, I do talk about, like, some characters or some plot or whatever, but I rarely ever do because Godzilla Effects mainly focuses on the special effects of each of the Godzilla films. But for today, I'm going to be actually doing a more in-depth movie review, something I've never done before, ever. But the reason why that I'm doing this in-depth movie review and not on the Movie Reviewers Library is because this movie is very hard to find on DVD. I have not been able to find it ever. So, and it's not on the Amazon Fire Stick any. So, if you want us to review it on the Fire Stick, if you want us to, all three of us, to do the movie review of it on Reviewers Library, then yeah, I'll put it on there. So, for my first in-depth movie review, we have Garuda from the year 2004. Now, I'm gonna admit this right now. I have not seen this movie in English. I've seen this movie now 3 times, but the only reason for that is because if any of you guys remember me from the last channel that I had a couple years ago, I did a lot of all creature scenes videos, and I did in all creature scenes to this movie. As of yesterday, it's like the 3rd time that I've done an all creature scenes videos to this movie. And the reason for that is because new laptop or technical difficulties, So, yeah. So, watching this movie and reading up on it and everything, it's like the plot is really it doesn't bring anything new to the monster genre. I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's like, I guess the movie could have been shortened to an hour and a half. I mean, the total runtime of this movie is 1 hour and 53 minutes. Now, like I said, this movie really doesn't bring anything new to the table or nothing new to the monster genre. It's just like pretty much your everyday monster film, in a way. Yeah, I'm sorry, I really don't have much to say about this film at all, really. Like I said, watching it 3 times and reading up on it. Like, okay, look on the cover here on the top. It says, the first Thai monster movie inspired by Godzilla. Yeah, this movie is straight out of Thailand, and I never even knew. I mean, I knew Thailand had movies, but just a smidge. But I didn't know that they ever dipped their hands into the monster genre. And you can heavily see the Godzilla influence, and I mean heavily see the Godzilla influence. And I mean, I did enjoy this movie. I haven't watched it in English yet, but I did enjoy it because, me being a monster fan. But yeah, when I mean you can see the heavy Godzilla influence, I will talk about the influence when I actually show the creatures. Yeah, creatures. Now on to the plot of this movie. The plot mainly concerns this, and this is for all the characters because I have never talked about characterization in a movie review before, so here I go. I'm gonna suck at it probably, but this is the best I can do here. Now, really, for the plot of this movie, the plot concerns this drilling team trying to build this new subway system in Bangkok, and as they're drilling underground, they end up hitting this thing of solid rock or whatever. Like, the drill can't even get through it, I guess. So, and while they're investigating it, they found this skull of this bird creature that it's called the Garuda because of the striking resemblance to the Thailand mythological creature. And so they bring in paleontologist Lena and her assistant her assistant's name is Tim, which is so funny, which is so hilarious because that's my name as well. And this guy, it's played by an American actor, and he adds like the comic relief to the film, but at the same time, he also knows how to box and also knows how to get out of a locked room. So yeah, it makes you wonder, where did this guy grow up? And listening to him, and if you're in the actor, he's in the picture from the top, second row from the top, and he's in the left square. Yeah, they bring in these two to tell this one scientist, this other older scientist guy, who, like, what the skull belongs to, and then they go into the area where the solid rock is, and they find this big cave full of, like, ancient trees or something like that, or whatever, and they're greeted by this heavy presence of all these military guys. I don't know why they're all there. It's really confusing. Like, when you watch it, it's like, okay, why are all these military guys there? And then we're introduced to some of the military characters in the movie. A couple of them being, there's the one in the, if you look to the column of pictures on the right, he's the fifth picture from the top. If you go from the top down, he's the fifth picture down. He's like the main character that presides through this movie, while all the other military guys just literally get their asses beat by the monsters. And there's two monsters in this movie. This creature here being one of them, this giant snake that you only see it like one time in the entire movie. And in the big cave that they find, it's like, I don't know what to really call it. There's these ancient trees or whatever, and this little lake or something by it. I don't know what it is, really. But the way they literally explain the monsters have a very interesting backstory. Well, the giant snake doesn't have one, but the title monster does. They say like 80,000, I think it's either 8,000 years ago or 80,000 years ago, the Garudas were this ancient race of creatures that once ruled Thailand or whatever, and they were passive, didn't really interfere with nobody, but then one of them went rogue and started going around just killing and eating everything it saw. So the rest of them restrained the creature and shoved it, imprisoned it really, under one of the trees that these people find in this giant cave, and it was supposed to remain there for all eternity, and I can see why they shoved it under this tree, because the giant roots of this tree actually makes sense if you want to imprison something that can fly, because it barely, like, you're shoved under there, you have nowhere to go. You're stuck under there, and you can't get out, so I guess it does make sense. But what ended up really happening, I guess, was that the Garuda went into hibernation under the tree, and then humans end up letting the thing out. So yeah, like I said, this movie really doesn't bring anything new to the monster movie genre. I mean, Lena and his assistant Tim they're paleontologists who are assigned to. Oh, and here's Garuda right here. Here's a good shot of his face. And yeah, like as I was saying, yeah, there's just this movie runs as like typical monster movie, like, oh, newly discovered stuff is found. They bring in scientists to investigate and tell people what it is, and they end up finding a living specimen of said creature, and the creature goes around and starts killing everybody. Really, very hugely cliched. I mean, the very first Godzilla movie was the same exact way. So yeah. This movie really, so I said it once, I'll say it again, this movie really doesn't bring much. It really doesn't bring anything new. And the characters are very stereotypical. You got one or two scientists. Do I have to belch on every time I do a movie review? Jesus. Literally, I don't make myself that. It just happens. I apologize for that. I don't mean to burp in like every single movie review that I do. Anyways, yeah, it's like you have the two scientists called in to investigate the discovery of the new creature here, and then you got all the military who try to act all badass. I mean, they try to act like the Marines from Aliens. It's like a Thai version of that. And apparently, I saw in one movie review where they talked a lot about racial, like there's racism to Americans or something like that in the movie. I have no idea. Like I said at the start of this video, I haven't watched this movie in English yet, so I have no clue. So I have no idea. But yeah, the characterization, it really, I guess, you got the comic relief, the lead character, which is the scientist Lena, and then you got all the military characters who have, like, I guess some backstory to them or whatever. And yeah, this whole movie is just a typical monster movie, really. But the special effects in the film, I don't know, it's like, oh yeah, one character I got to talk about actually, he's kind of a really stupid highlight of the movie, which I don't know. It's like, thank God he was in this movie for a very short time period. And it was the way the first half of this movie plays out is like you think that, oh, it's like Garuda is in the underground by the subway system and they're managing to keep it in and kill it, right? No, what ends up happening is a lot of the military characters in the underground, they all get killed, and Garuda ends up escaping through the subway system and onto the streets of Bangkok. So, yeah. So, the way it does that, its introduction to the city streets from under the subway system is kind of funny. There's this one character who's this chubby security guard. Oh my god. I heard a clip of his English dubbing, and he has this really high voice. And Garuda sneaks up behind him and kills him. Like, you are so happy that this character dies. I don't know why, but he's dressed like a normal security guard, but his tie is so ridiculously small. It's like, couldn't the director take this character a little more serious? Like, instead of armed with a walkie or something, couldn't you give him a pistol or something to shoot at Garuda before he dies so he goes down like a boss? No. He stands there, he's acting like he's doing his job. I mean, you could probably tell that the character was a rookie. He's just acting like he's doing his job and everything, and then Garuda friggin' comes up behind him, and everyone starts running away from him, and it's like, how did this guy not hear this 15-foot tall bird, this anthro bird, come up behind him? And it's like, oh my god. And then all you see is Garuda just picks him up by his head, literally by his head, and I guess like squishes his head or something. They don't really show what happens. All they show is Garuda picks him up for like 30 seconds, and then you just see a blood splatter hit a wall. So you don't really know what happens. And then the whole rest of the movie is the Thai military finding ways to kill Garuda here. And some of the military characters are just kind of stupid, actually. I mean, this is my first time heavily criticizing any monster film, but for this movie, I have to say this. It's just, there's a lot of scenes when Garuda encounters the military, they literally just stand there and stare at him as he's looking at him. Like, it's like, in the words of Agent K from the first Men in Black movie, shoot the damn thing. Like, seriously, you're there to kill it, Like, they shoot at him a couple of times, but they should have shot at him a little more. And then you have these really obvious CG explosions that happen. I mean, yeah, the CG for this movie, it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, yeah, I guess it reflects the time period it come from. This movie came out in 2004. And one point that I got to bring back up is when I mean the heavy Godzilla influence, I mean, if you look at Garuda's head, especially in this screenshot in particular, if you look at the top of his head, don't those three horns look like another certain flying monster? if you hadn't really guessed it, it's from looking at it, it's Rodan. Let me just get back to the poster. Oh yeah, you can actually see it on the poster here. Look at his head in between these giant wings. Um, yeah, yeah, they look like the 1990s Rodan. Like I actually do kind of like that. And I actually do like the horn placement looks like the 1990s Rodan. So it's like, yeah, I can definitely see the Godzilla influence. So yeah, Garuda is just, it's a very, I don't know, the movie could have been done, so the movie could have been, I mean, I enjoy it for what, I mean, with me and monster movies, I enjoy them for how they are. You know, that's how I take it. I take movies how they are, I pick who I like, and then I hope they live by the end of the movie. But with the military scenes in this movie, I mean, with the soldiers looking right at Garuda, they should have immediately started shooting at him the minute they see him, the minute he saw them. And then there's one crazy scene where like the main military character shoots one of Garuda's wings and injures Garuda by shooting him in this one wing in particular like multiple times. And then you see Garuda literally rip the wing off and throw it on the ground, and he's just all pissed off, and he punches the military guy. You know, and then there's another cool scene where one of the other military characters gets in like this hand-to-hand combat, like close quarter combat with Garuda down this hallway. I mean, it does some good creative scenes with Garuda interacting with the human characters, which is cool. I love it when monsters do that, but it's just the some scenes when the military just stands there. I'm sorry, why were those scenes even in the movie in the first place? They just look like, oh my god, shoot at him already, Jesus. So yeah, when it comes to a score, and like I said, the characters, I mean, the two scientist characters really are the only characters I actually really like, in all honesty. I mean, they're typical, yes, but the character Tim, I relate to this dude the absolute. Well, I don't really relate to him. Just that he's like my favorite character in this movie, and it sucks he dies at like halfway through. But yeah, for Garuda, I'm giving this movie when I said like CG is really hit or miss, I mean the CGI is really hit or miss in this movie. So yeah, I'm giving this movie a 6.5 out of 10 here. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I don't really have much to say about this movie at all. Like I said, it's just one big cliche after another, just with brand new monster designs. So yeah, please subscribe to not only this channel, but the Movie Reviews Library. Alright, this is Tim W. Leather Tachi 1996, and I will say peace out everybody, and I will see you in the next video I do.